This is a podcast about networking. Networking is the ability to communicate and establish relationships to help you and others progress in their future endeavors. In light of the world changing right in front of our eyes, it's very important, now more than ever, to learn and master the skill of networking. It used to just be about physical networking, but with social media now being a part of our daily lives, the ability to share dialogue has shifted from face to face to screen to screen. Today, more people are becoming more social on social media and missing the tools of how to be social in real life. In order to establish your network, you have to learn how to communicate both on and off the screen. Creating and maintaining your network is the key to unlocking your potential within yourself and opens the door to the endless possibilities of a successful future. This podcast teaches you how to establish your network and how to maintain relationships on and off your screen. Hey, nice to meet you. The Networking Podcast, hosted by Desiree Jones. It's a pleasure to meet you. Talk soon. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Desiree Jones, or Des for short, and welcome to Hey, nice to meet you, the Networking Podcast, the podcast that teaches you how to establish your network and maintain relationships both on and off your screen. And also, Happy Black History Month! Happy Black History Month! Yeah, we in this thing. It's February. I hope everybody's doing okay. I know there's been a lot going on in the news and the media, and I just pray that everyone is having their time of peace, their time of reflection, and amongst the chaos, just please remember to talk to someone. Remember that you're not alone and that you are appreciated and you are loved. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this amazing podcast where, again, the podcast that teaches you how to establish your network and maintain relationships both on and off your screen. And today's topic is, hey, did you write that down? So writing is another way to collect and organize information. It's pretty much another way to communicate. Writing is just as important as reading. And when you write, you're more than likely to remember and retain information. Now, when you say write, it can be write or type, but it still is important to have the foundation of writing with a pen or pencil. But if you have to type, because now we live in a digital world, having to type is also just as important. So when we say writing down, I'm of course talking about like with a pencil, but also, the old school way of writing down with a pencil, but also of course, writing, typing, any way to kind of make sure you remember and retain information on a screen or on a sheet of paper. So that is the topic. But before we get into the main topic of the day, let's get into the book of the day. So reading is fundamental, and it's very important to continue to make it a habit. If you prefer audiobooks, that's totally fine, but something about the touch of a book and the flip of a page just brings solitude to the mind. So with that, today's book, and of course, in light of Black History Month, we're going to give a shout out to Black authors. And so this book we have is Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson. This was an Oprah's Book Club 2020, a really, really in-depth book that talks about the caste system and how, beyond race, class, or other factors, a powerful caste system influences people's lives and behavior and the nation's fate. Linking the caste system of America, India, and Nazi Germany, Wilkerson explores 8 pillars that underlie caste systems across civilizations, including divine will, bloodlines, and stigma. Using riveting stories about people including Martin Luther King Jr., baseball Satchel Paige, a single father and his toddler son, and Wilkerson herself, she shows the ways that the insidious undertow of caste is experienced every day. So, the caste, origins of our discontent, everyone's talking about racism, classism. The caste system is the overall spectrum of like the underneath the foundation when it comes to racism and a lot of other major just ideals of hate. And for the Black community, even today, we experience so much hate. We experience just so much in our own community. Like having this book kind of outlines where it all came from, honestly. And also remember, in light of Black History Month, it's just really important to remember the history. Remember the history. Remember all that Black people have gone through. Remember all that Black people have contributed to society, whether that be in America, Africa, Europe, everywhere. African Americans, especially in the US, we have suffered a lot, and we're still trying to retain and regain our footing when it comes to a lot of the things that we have lost over the past century. So remember this, remember how important Black people are. Remember all that we've contributed to society, all the amount of history, all the amount of amazing people, scientists, doctors, business people, anyone in general that has contributed to you. Black lives matter. They do. So remember that. And this is the book. In light of Black History Month, we're going to continue to highlight Black books by Black authors, Black entrepreneurs. So this is a time to be proud. If you're Black, I'm Black and proud, and I will continue to say that even outside of February. I'm Black and I'm proud. And again, I'm grateful for all that my community has done for me and all that the Black community has done for the culture. We have influenced culture, and we are the creative masterminds of a lot of different industries. So, we're awesome. So shout out to Black History Month. Shout out to everyone that's Black. Shout out to our allies. Shout out to just everyone who's just in support of African Americans and all that we've done. So that's the book of the day. Again, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. If you have read it, I'd love to know, what did you think of it? Have you read it? There were 8 pillars, so let me know which one that stood out to you. I would love to know more in the comments. Just let me know a book that you're reading. I asked about that on my TikTok the other day. I'm like, what book are you reading? So reading books, reading audiobooks, listening to audiobooks, having a book is super crucial. Reading is fundamental. I'm going to continue to say that for every podcast. So if you haven't gotten a book today, go ahead and get you a book. Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson. Highly recommended book, especially if you want to know more about the foundation of race, history, and all that we've come from. Awesome. So now we got the book of the day, and we're going to head into our topic. Did you write that down? Hey, did you write that down? So in the digital age we live in, with iPads and laptops, we look more at screens than paper. And we can easily type anything we need to remember. So, why write on paper? Why write in general? Why do I need to write things down? Why is it important? Well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons, okay? 3 reasons. Writing helps you learn. Writing helps you earn. And writing helps you remember. Okay? 3 reasons. Writing helps you learn. Writing helps you earn. And writing helps you to remember. So when I was in school, I used a lot of notebooks. I was a notebook folder queen. And I had a cute assortment of pens and pencils and different colors for each class I took. I did this in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. So I've constantly developed a habit of writing that works for how I learn. So how does writing help you learn? Well, when you're writing on paper, or typing, but let's talk about writing in general, on paper for right now. When you're writing on paper, you're creating another tool needed to understand. I'm a visual learner, so anytime I didn't understand anything, when I saw it, I would also write it down to visually look at it over and over again and read what I wrote over and over again to learn what I saw visually. This also can apply to typing, but I'm just saying how I usually write. Like I like writing things down, and whether it be on a whiteboard, piece of paper, anything. So writing helps you learn, okay? So how does writing help you earn? What you write down can be a foundation for what you need to earn money. Writing is another way to communicate, and what we communicate to the world can be valuable. It's another tool used to exchange emotional or monetary value. Writing sketches, writing down formulas, writing down words for poetry, or even drafting ideas for books and projects. So writing helps you earn because it essentially is the foundation for what you need to earn money. How does writing help you remember? Well, let's be honest. How many times have you said you'll remember something and you forget? How many times have you said, oh yeah, I need to get something from the store, and when you get to the store you get everything but the one thing you said you really needed? Or what about someone's name? Someone asks if you know somebody that they can contact, but you remember their face but not their name. From grocery lists to the Constitution, writing things down helps you remember. If you have something written down and it's right in front of you, or at least in close proximity to you, you're even more likely to remember. And the saying out of sight, out of mind, is still kind of important for this message. Out of sight, out of mind. If you have to write down a bunch of information, try to write it all down in the same place, in the notebook or a journal. I started journaling back in 2017. So as of now, I've had 5 years worth of thoughts I can reflect on and look back on to remember, all that I've experienced. So when you write things down, you're documenting a guide, and that's the foundation of what can help you learn, earn, and remember. So again, why is writing important? Writing helps you learn, writing helps you earn, and writing helps you remember. Let's get into the segment I like to call Then It All Went Left. So this is a segment where I talk about a situation that went totally terrible, but led to the right path. So I used to work part-time at Home Depot. And while I was at Home Depot, that was my first job out of college. Yes, I had my degree in marketing, but times were hard. I just needed to get something. Like applying for jobs was crazy. And I was still applying to jobs while leaving at Home Depot. So I just needed something to help me make a little bit of money while I was terribly broke and on my own. So while at Home Depot, I started off, in garden, waking up 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., just watering flowers. That was my first seasonal job. 2 months later, I was part-time in garden, so I was a garden associate. And months after that, I worked in deliveries. So deliveries is where most contractors go when they have contractors or trucks come to pick up bulk orders of anything from pallets to stones, mulch, marble chips, all that. So some days there were orders of 50 bags of mulch, or orders of 150 2x6x16 lumber due in the morning. And I would have to get a forklift or a reach truck to grab it and place it where it needs to be ready to deliver for the next day. So because I alternated between mornings and evenings, I'd be the person reviewing the list of what needs to be delivered or placed the night before, so that way it'll be ready for delivery the next day. And some days that list can get pretty long. So I usually write them all down to make sure I have a record of what to expect. But of course, there's always one day when you think you got it all figured out, you got the hang of things, and you're like, I got it, I remember it. And well, one of those days, it didn't really work out. Like, I thought I was going to remember it, but I didn't. And, I was with one of my fellow coworkers, and I had to take care of like an emergency. And I asked them, like, I was swamped. I was like, hey, I got to go home, but can you take care of this? Like, I've written everything down that you need to work on. And, I'm coming back in the morning to just make sure like things are worked out. They're like, all right, cool. I got it. So I got to work to the next day, and nothing was taken care of. Nothing. And the delivery trucks were waiting on the orders that still haven't been pulled. So not only that, but since I gave them the paper, I didn't have anything to look at as a reference. So I was in an instant panic because at that moment I had just delayed a whole truck route. I think it was like multiple truck routes because of an order I thought was ready and wasn't. So on top of that, it was one of those orders that needed multiple trips with the forklift. So there was no way it was going to be delivered on time. So that was like a major L. But what did I learn? So I learned two things. One, if you write something down, write it somewhere else too. Make sure you have a copy somewhere. If I had a copy, I could have taken care of a lot of deliveries quicker because I had a reference to fall back to. But instead, I had to start over. And the next thing, be mindful of who you ask for help. Not everyone wants to help, and some people can't even pull their own weight. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to complete a task or an assignment. And, that was my big L for the day. And has this resonate with anybody? Has anybody ever had a time where, you trusted something with somebody and you had to write something down and they just couldn't complete the task? Been there, done that. I hope I'm not the only one that's experienced that. Love to know your stories because it's always good to look back and reflect on, what have I gone through? What has happened? And what did I learn from it? So this is why I do this segment, because everyone's had a major L in their life, but it's not really about the L of losing, but it's the L of learning. Awesome. So now we're going to get into 100 Commandments of Confidence. 100 Commandments of Confidence. So I did this again because networking is all about confidence. Networking is all about confidence and making sure that, you're having a great time, and you might be a little nervous. That's okay. But I started this segment because networking requires confidence. In general, it's important to be confident in yourself just to make sure you have the right mindset when you are stepping into connecting with somebody, right? So 100 Commandments of Confidence. This is the one for today. You ready? Thou shalt not let a setback or misstep in life determine who you are meant to be. Thou shalt not let a setback or misstep in life determine who you are meant to be. While I was working at Home Depot, were there times where I felt like, man, my life sucks. I graduated college, I got my marketing degree, I was involved in so much stuff, and I still ain't got a job. Like, what's wrong with me? Absolutely. Taking a scooter to work at 4:30 in the morning really humbles you a lot, because it's like, is this where I thought my life would be after graduating? No, but we're here, and here we are, especially when you're working an afternoon shift in garden on a hot day and someone asks you for 50 bags of mulch. So you wake up 4:30 a.m., take a scooter to work because you ain't got a car and you can't afford a lift. So you just got to take the scooter because it's cheaper. You ain't got to worry about insurance. So, doing that and then working in gardening in the summer as a garden associate, when someone asks for 50 bags of mulch that you got to hand stack in someone's truck by yourself, yeah, it sucks. But it was only for a season. It didn't last forever. And confidence is about not letting negative circumstances or setbacks deter you from having a positive outlook on who you are. Even while lifting marble chips on a truck, I knew I was still confident in myself. I was confident in getting the job done, and I was confident in being the best person I could be while doing it. A setback or a misstep could be a preparation for that new step. Confidence is being able to believe in yourself through any circumstance. Boom. 100 Commandments of Confidence. Thou shalt not let a setback or a misstep in life determine who you are meant to be. You like that one? I think that might be my favorite one. So 100 Commandments of Confidence. If you like this one, let somebody know. Like, this is what I learned on the podcast, 100 Commandments of Confidence. You are not who your situation is. Some people got to know. And that's the important factor when it comes to confidence. So now we're going to get into the follow-up hack. So when should you follow up with someone if you've already talked to them? Good question, right? When should you follow up with them? Well, timing is indeed everything, and knowing when to reach out is crucial. It is best to send a follow-up within 48 hours of a meeting somebody, and this way it leaves the conversation fresh in their mind. Now remember, what is a follow-up? Well, a follow-up is pretty much you reaching back out to someone that you previously spoke with and letting them know, hey, it was great talking to you, would love to know more. Or it's pretty much communicating with them after you've already communicated with them again. Following up is essentially following what you did already and doing it again. So reaching back out to them again. So again, when should you follow up with someone if you've already talked with them? When you are following up with somebody, timing again is everything. And if you take too long to touch base with them, they may not respond back. In a professional situation, the faster you follow up, the more initiative it shows. They may not respond right away, but they may remember better if you respond quicker compared to if you email them 2 weeks after talking to them. It also proves that you have the ability to follow up. Now, when it comes to following up again, sometimes you might have to follow up with them after already following up with them, depending on who it is you want to reach out to. If it's a job application or something, I remember I had to follow up with my job, like, hey, I applied for this job, just wanted to know, especially after you've already done the interview and stuff, like, hey, it was great connecting with you. We'd love to know more about how we can follow up, and can I know next steps, just kind of have that initiative to kind of reach back out, because everybody's low-key swamped. So it's always great to kind of be a refresher in somebody's head. So that's the follow-up hack. So again, this is a networking podcast. Hey, nice to meet you. The Networking Podcast, a podcast that teaches you how to establish relationships and maintain them on and off your screen. Okay, this is all about communicating, networking, and making sure that you have the foundation to network and communicate properly. So right now we're on episode 4. Or is this episode 4? Yeah, we're on episode 4. So these last couple episodes are pretty much the foundation of how to communicate self-identity, my identity, like who am I, writing, and just making sure that you have like the proper way of communicating. So we're going to get more into communicating, and then throughout this podcast, again, we're going to break down the aspects of networking, because meeting somebody is different. It's a different way of networking depending on who they are, different type of networking. Following up, super crucial. Location, like where are you following up? Who are you? Like the next episode, what are we talking about? Like, let's talk about the conversation. All of this is super important. So we're going to continue to talk about networking. I really appreciate you guys staying and tuning in. If you have any questions, or if you feel like this is a great conversation someone else needs to listen to that probably needs to work better on their communication skills, send this podcast to them. Send this one to them. You just never know who may need it. And I really appreciate you. Again, my name is Desiree Jones, or Des for short, at the Book of Des. And I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy this Black History Month, and thrive on, beautiful people. Take care.